And welcome back to Capitol Tonight. Well, today election officials began counting absentee ballots and other paper ballots in the 3 Senate races that are still undecided. Currently, Republicans hold leads in 2 of the 3 races. And if those leads hold, they will take control of the Senate with a narrow 32-seat lead. Now, if that happens, all indications are that my next guest would become Senate Majority Leader once again. His name is Dean Skelos. He is the current Republican leader of the Senate. Mr. Skelos, how are you?
Good, very good, Liz. Nice to be with you.
Very good indeed. You would be perhaps standing to inherit a job that you've already had once before.
Well, I may have had it twice before, but right now we're very happy that the Senate will be returned to the Republican majority by either 32 or 33, and we're optimistic it could be 33.
You know, speak to us about what's going on in Nassau County. This is, of course, your neck of the woods. And the race actually, I think, took a lot of people by surprise. It's Senator Craig Johnson. He won in a special election and ran against Jack Martins, the Republican. This is a race that you have a lot of personal interest in.
Well, you know, the Long Island has always been represented up until about 2 or 3 years ago by 9 Republican senators. And this certainly has been good for the island, but also maintaining a Republican majority conference. We will be back to 9 now with Brian Foley having lost his election, and we're very confident that Craig Johnson has lost his election to Jack Martins. Payroll tax, eliminating the star rebate check, $14 billion in new taxes, and $14 billion in new spending, and that's why you have 2 former senators from Long Island and other areas of the state.
Okay, well, none of these races have actually been called quite yet, but they are indeed quite close. However, there have not been concessions, and the Democrats are now calling for full recounts in some cases, which would mean going back to square one, if you will, and counting every single paper ballot that was cast, not just absentees and military.
Well, we believe that the election machines have been correct. They've been recanvassed by the Board of Elections. Really what the Democrats are doing, Liz, is they are right now in debt by at least $2.1 million that they've taken out loans that are due December 22nd. By stretching this out, they're hoping to be able to fundraise by putting a spin that they're going to be in the majority. Already they're sending out letters and solicitations for money.
Senator,
and that will go to,
just excuse me for 1 second. I know that they've taken out loans. They took out about $750,000 worth of loans prior to the election, but the post-general election filing has not been made yet, so I'm curious where the $2.1 million number comes from.
We are aware of that. We've been made aware of that it's actually about $2.1 million in loans that they've applied for, received, and that they owe by December 22nd.
Who made you aware of that?
We are aware of it. And you'll see when the filings come out that that's going to be the correct number, if not other fundraising or other money that they may owe also. But the bottom line is, Liz, when we analyze the Antoine Thompson district up in Buffalo, Niagara County, when we analyze the Craig Johnson district here in Nassau County, and even the Susie Oppenheimer district in Westchester County, which will be a lot closer, we are very, very optimistic that when the paper is counted, as it should be for all eligible voters, that we will be successful in 2 and hopefully 3 seats.
Senator, do you not think, though, for example, that all the votes should be counted, perhaps a recount even in the Oppenheimer-Cohen district race, rather? That's actually close, but it's not to your advantage. So would you like to see a recount there?
No, I want to see all the paper counted. The machines have been canvassed and recanvassed, so I believe those numbers are correct. So really what you do now is not delay the process. You want to make sure that every vote's count, but you go through the paper, the absentee ballots, the affidavit ballots, the other types of ballots that are out there, and emergency ballots, and have a final count so that we can move forward in what's going to be a critical legislative session, debt, dealing with a new governor, And the Democrats shouldn't look to delay this into the next legislative session for some political or financial reason.
So then you will not look to delay this. In other words, you will not fight the Oppenheimer-Cohen race into the next legislative session.
No, we're going to have all the ballots reviewed, affidavit ballots, absentee ballots, emergency ballots. Those will all be reviewed at the Board of Elections with representatives from all sides, and we don't have a problem with that. But opening up every machine, looking through all the ballots again, that the computers and the chips have indicated are correctly counted, I don't think that's the appropriate path to take right now.
Okay, so it really does come down to possibly the Antoine Thompson race in Buffalo. It's possible that the Senate could be deadlocked at 31-31. Just today, Governor-elect Cuomo said that he believes Lieutenant Governor-elect Duffy could actually cast a ballot, a vote, that would make a decision about leadership in the Senate. Now, I understand you disagree.
Yeah, obviously we disagree with that. That would be an intrusion by the executive branch into the legislative branch, making a determination as to its temporary president or majority leader should be. I don't think that's appropriate, and certainly we don't believe there's case law for that. We run our own chamber, and it's not something that the executive should try to hijack. And I think the governor-elect is wrong with his interpretation.
You actually spoke to the governor-elect after the election. Did this particular topic come up?
No, it did not. It didn't come up. It was more of a courtesy call, and we both agreed that with the new majority in the Senate that we would move forward. There are a lot of things that have to be accomplished. It has to be accomplished on a bipartisan basis, and I pledged to him that our conference, our majority conference, would cooperate with him in dealing with the deficit that exists in the state, and certainly we would not be supportive of any taxes, any fee increases, or additional spending. The state has a spending problem. We have to cut our spending. We have to cut taxes. We have to create private sector jobs. That was our message during the election, and that's going to be our message during this budget cycle and next year's budget cycle.
So, Senator, then, if in fact it's 31-31 and Lieutenant Governor-elect Duffy attempts to cast a vote that would make a decision in the leadership, would you sue? And if you did sue, how far would you take that lawsuit? All the way up to the Court of Appeals?
Yeah, we would take that to the Court of Appeals, but again, I don't believe that will not be necessary. We're very optimistic we're going to come back with 32 or 33 seats.
Okay, if that's the case, though, we have seen the chaos that reigned in the Democratic conference when they had 32-30. I mean, essentially, you're just going to be trading places with them at 32-30. So how is it that you are going to be able to say you'll keep everybody in line and you won't have breakaway renegades going over to make deals? You've already seen some. Do you expect, for example, not a member of your conference, but Senator Ruben Diaz might come and join you?
Well, you know, he can vote as he wishes. That's the prerogative of every member. But I think you also saw during the last legislative session that the 30 Republicans, we conferenced and we came out with the united front. And when we were in the majority, we were 32, and we managed to govern. So I'm not concerned of our ability to govern at 32 or 33. I would be very concerned at their ability to govern at 31-31 as a partnership or not a partnership. But we're prepared to govern. We believe we're going to be at 32 or 33. So that's really speculative, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks that issue will be resolved.
And you believe that you will also be leader, because there was some talk before the election, including from Senator Maziarz, that he might be interested in leadership.
You know, our conference will make that final decision, but I'm very confident. The phone calls that I've received from members, the fact that we're back in the majority, the fact that we raised millions upon millions of dollars, defeated a number of incumbents that they felt we could never defeat. I'm very optimistic that I will be the majority leader when we come back this January.
There has been a lot of talk now about Monday morning quarterbacking, if you will, within the Republican Party. A lot of upset that Harry Wilson, the state comptroller candidate, came so close to Tom DiNapoli, and some blaming of Carl Palladino at the top of the ticket, who you supported, if I'm not mistaken, and also State Chairman Ed Cox. Do you blame Ed Cox for the statewide losses that the party has suffered, and should he step down?
No, I mean, I think right now it's premature to do that. That's a decision of the different county chairs. But Liz, we should look at the fact that we've probably picked up 6 or 7 congressional seats, won back the Senate majority, upwards of 9 assembly seats. Carl Palladino won a primary. I supported Rick Lazio, as did many others. The state chair supported Steve Levy. But the bottom line is the Republican primary voters made the choice of Carl Palladino. And I've said this, that he hurt us down the ticket. That's with Harry Wilson, with Donovan, and we perhaps could have been a little bit more comfortable in the Senate. But that's the past. Now moving forward, we picked up more congressional seats in New York State than any other state in the nation, assembly seats and back into the Senate majority.
When you speak of the congressional seats, of course, the next round of redistricting is coming up. If, in fact, you are back in the majority, you will have considerable control over that process. Your entire conference, yourself included, signed former New York City Mayor Ed Koch's New York Uprising PAC pledge that would say that you would support an independent redistricting commission. You will be sticking to that?
Yeah, we will be sticking to that, and the question is, what is Shelley Silver going to do, and how do you compose that type of a truly independent redistricting commission? But ultimately, by state law and state constitution, the legislature has to make the final decision as to how those seats are composed, and obviously the governor has to agree.
There's been, and speaking of Shelley Silver, there's been some talk of the possibility that some people might be interested in taking him out. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't believe that will happen. I mean, you know, Shelley hopefully has gotten the message, and the Democrats that control the Assembly, that people are tired of the taxes, the spending, and the debt. And they want to, the government to treat its budget as if it's a household budget, and they want us to stand out of the way of the private sector that wants to create jobs in New York State. If he got the message, I'm sure he'll continue to be Speaker. If he hasn't gotten the message, I'm sure his conference will deal with that as they see fit.
Well, Senate Minority Leader Dean Skelos, I'm continuing to use that title because at this point we just don't know, but we will be revisiting with you the issue of the cliffhanger Senate races. In the meantime, I want to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Liz.